Right now, we're in the beginning stages of a potentially long battle between the WNBA and their entitled players. As is often the case, the battle is over money. One side is the beneficiary of millions of dollars in donations from the NBA and other subsidizers, while the other side, they have never seen a comma in their bank balance unless it was being used to demonstrate how much they have overdrawn. Like I told you guys the other day, these negotiations for a new collective bargaining agreement, this is going to be tough. And some WNBA players, they are making it more difficult because their intentions, their credibility is being questioned.
The WNBA always preached teamwork makes the dream work, but no one expected the team to be plotting against the whole league. Rumors are swirling like a half-court buzzer beater gone rogue. Players allegedly scheming to derail the entire 2026 season. Protest? Power play? Or just the WNBA's latest audition for reality TV? Whatever it is, it's spicier than courtside jalapenos. If true, we're not just talking locker room drama, we're talking full-blown league shakeup. The season hasn't even tipped off, and it's already delivering Emmy-level chaos.
I don't get it. I don't want to get it. I want it to work out, but America's dumbest league keeps being dumb. You know, they want to go, and I don't blame them, I suppose, the WNBA, from 0 to 1,000. But what they went from was from 0 to Caitlin Clark, and they don't understand. I'm going to get into Carolyn Peck in a minute. The dumbest league strikes again. Several high-profile WNBA players have begun to openly call out the league's office and commissioner, Kathy Engelbert, as they should, but it shouldn't be them. It should be Caitlin Clark calling it out, to voice their displeasure with the league's initial CBA offer, calling it a slap in the face.
Just when you thought things couldn't get any messier, the WNBA doubles down on dysfunction. What once was a basketball league now feels more like a behind-the-scenes soap opera with sneakers. It's less about hoops and more about how to alienate loyal fans, muddy the message, and fumble momentum in real time. The hardwood used to be sacred ground. Now it's the set of a never-ending drama with no playbook in sight.
It seems as if this is the week the WNBA players decided, you know what? July 4th week, we are going to start playing out these CBA negotiations in the court of public opinion. We're going to air our grievances. Every time we get in front of a camera, we're going to complain, we're going to whine, and then hopefully enough fans, enough supporters are going to get on our side and start holding up their pitchforks and torches, marching at the door of Kathy Engelbert, screaming at the owners, "We want more money, we want more money."
These days, it's less basketball and more Broadway, where virtue signaling takes center stage, the drama's mid-tier, and the referees might as well be flipping coins backstage. Let's be real. What are we watching? Because it's definitely not the crisp, elite-level basketball fans were promised. We've slipped into an alternate reality where common sense took an early retirement and left behind a highlight reel of hashtags, feel-good slogans, and press conference word salad dressed up as strategy.
Ooh, the shots are firing in the WNBA dump. It's the diva of dump divas, Kat Engelbert, against entitled WNBA players. It's the woman who controls all the money that was generously donated by the NBA against delusional dump divers who think they deserve the money even though they have failed to generate a Vietnamese dong in profit. It's entirely possible that there are other dongs in the WNBA. They're just not in the form of profitable currency.
Fans aren't showing up for emotional TED Talks at halftime. They want clutch shots, heated rivalries, and high-stakes action that actually feels professional. Instead, they're stuck watching what feels like a group project gone wrong, where everyone wants to lead, no one did the homework, and the final presentation is just chaos in sneakers pretending to be structure.
The WNBA players have opted out of their current collective bargaining agreement and face the prospect of a work stoppage. The players are absolutely right. They only get 10% of basketball-related income compared to the 50% that the NBA players get. Players citing higher television ratings, attendance figures, franchise values, as the reason for opting out. Now, wait a damn minute. Higher television ratings, higher attendance figures. That doesn't come courtesy of a league. It comes courtesy of the players that play in the league. Caitlin Clark, she was the most popular, which means she could have helped your bottom line.
And can we talk about the refs for a second? These are supposed to be the neutral arbiters of justice on the hardwood, but some of them are officiating like they're wearing invisible jerseys under the stripes. You blink wrong, and it's a technical. You breathe near a star player, it's a flagrant. Meanwhile, actual elbows and flying limbs are treated like interpretive dance. It's not officiating, it's performance art. The WNBA has somehow found a way to make everything about the league except basketball. Front office statements sound like HR memos. Pressers are less about game strategy and more about vague, motivational riddles. And the social media accounts? Half sports updates, half sensitivity training posters. At some point, someone's got to say it. The WNBA doesn't need a new slogan, it needs a reset button. A full-blown overhaul. Tear it down to the studs and rebuild it with one thing in mind: business. Not buzzwords, not group hugs, not virtue flexing, just pure, unapologetic, market-driven professionalism. A league where the product is king, where merit matters more than mantras, and where wins and losses are more important than Instagram captions and curated outrage. Right now, it's hard to even tell what the league's actual goal is. Is it to compete with other professional sports? Is it to be a platform for activism? Is it to be a vibes-based social club with uniforms? Because you can't be all things to all people and still claim to be serious. The NBA is not out here holding feelings circles before tip-off. The NFL isn't debating whether sacks hurt people's emotions.
Bad news. Bad news. Breanna Stewart basically confirms they're not getting anything they want in the CBA. The CBA offer is a joke, a slap in the face, a spit in the face, and the players will go on strike. They're going to go on strike, y'all. This is happening. I think this is going to come to a crashing head here.
But the WNBA? It's become so wrapped in identity politics and ideological pageantry that even die-hard fans are starting to walk away with their hands in the air like, okay, I tried. You want real growth? Treat the WNBA like a business. Cut the fluff, streamline the product, start acting like a league that wants to make money and win fans, not gold stars from Twitter. People are paying with their time, their money, their energy, and they want to be entertained, not lectured. They want gritty rivalries, not sanitized solidarity parades. They want competition, not choreographed compassion theater. Imagine a WNBA where talent is everything, where media coverage isn't forced but earned, where the best players are highlighted because of their dominance on the court, not their ability to give a lukewarm take on cable news, where refs are held accountable and games are decided by skills, not random, game-swinging whistles that feel like they were made by a confused AI trained on soap operas and sitcoms. Picture coaches who can coach without walking on ideological eggshells, players who can be fierce, trash-talking, gritty competitors without needing to deliver a corporate-sponsored message after every rebound, broadcasters who are allowed to criticize without writing apology letters by morning, fans who don't feel like they're on probation for watching the game wrong.
They're saying, oh, yeah, sure, here, you want my watch too? Here's my necklace. You want my private jet? Yeah, take my private jet. You could go to Costa Rica. You could go to Turks and Caicos. I'm not sure what the players are expecting. I just hope that they understand that they're at a negotiation table across from sharks. Not minnows, not guppies, not goldfish you flush down the toilet when you forget to feed them for a few days. They're across from sharks. They swim in the waters and they smell blood when it comes to the WNBA Players Association, and they smell blood, especially when they see how they've been treating the only player in the league that draws some moolah. They're like, oh no.
Let's face it, people don't support teams because of slogans. They support them because they fight, they claw, and they bleed for wins. That's the DNA of real sports. But the WNBA's current version feels like it's been designed in a faculty lounge, not a locker room. It's the only place where you can drop 30 points in a game and still be overshadowed by someone's podcast rant about systemic parking lot inequality. And sure, we all get it, social issues matter. But when the primary draw becomes the activism instead of the athleticism, you've turned your league into a niche think tank with sneakers. It's not that fans are against players having opinions. It's that they didn't buy a ticket to a panel discussion. They came to watch a game. There's a reason other leagues don't drown themselves in ideological theater. It doesn't sell. It doesn't scale. It alienates more people than it brings in. And for a league that desperately needs eyeballs, that's not just self-inflicted, it's self-destructive. You can't grow a league while turning it into a members-only echo chamber. At some point, somebody in charge has to admit the obvious. The current blueprint isn't working. The audience isn't growing because the product isn't compelling enough. Not because people are bigots, not because society isn't ready, but because the league refuses to prioritize what matters. Quality basketball, fair officiating, competitive energy, and actual entertainment.
NBA has been telling you for a while that they're big and they're good and they're strong and they're worth money. And I've been telling you for a while that looking at their TV rights and using that as the sole example of the health of the WNBA is completely wrong to do. That was a pegged number from the full NBA deal. There's one group of people in the WNBA who don't yet quite realize that the owners of the WNBA in no way feel rich or lucky at the moment. They feel like they've got some momentum.
So if the WNBA wants to survive, forget the slogans, forget the panel discussions, forget the 10-point mission statements posted in Comic Sans. Start treating the sport like it's worthy of being watched on merit alone. Bring in refs who know what a foul is. Highlight rivalries that actually make people care. Promote stars who are lethal on the court, not just likable in interviews. Or, if that's too much to ask, just dissolve the whole thing and start over with people who aren't allergic to success. People who understand that a sports league is, at the end of the day, a business. Not a student council meeting in sneakers. A business that should be selling basketball, not buzzwords. Until then, fans will keep tuning out. Ratings will keep nosediving, and everyone will pretend to be confused while the league slowly turns into a punchline. And let's be honest, that's already happening. The WNBA is becoming a meme in real time, and not the kind that sells jerseys, the kind that sells silence in the bleachers. Because, here's the uncomfortable truth no one at WNBA HQ wants to put on a PowerPoint slide. Without Caitlin Clark, the league is about as watchable as a 2-hour dental seminar. The entire ecosystem is being held together by a 22-year-old rookie who's barely unpacked her suitcases. And somehow, she's the glue, the spark, the ratings, the ticket sales, the jersey merch, and half the media coverage rolled into one.
They haven't made $1 with y'all, and y'all keep asking for more. Let's see what Breanna Stewart had to say about the CBA negotiation. She said, I'm absolutely frustrated. Anytime you go back and forth, you're not expecting to hear that yes on the first proposal, but you're expecting to have a conversation. They just kind of ignored everything we say. My bad. I'm not supposed to laugh. My bad. Hey, these owners they getting disrespectful out here. They get disrespectful. They just ignore y'all. Oh, man. Y'all thought Caitlin Clark was going to save this shit. Oh, my God.
Remove her from the equation, and what's left? A league gasping for attention while pretending it isn't entirely dependent on one player to keep the lights on. And no, that's not an exaggeration. Look at the data. Look at the packed arenas when Caitlin plays versus the empty chairs and crickets when she doesn't. Look at the TV numbers, spiking like an energy drink overdose every time she steps on the court. The numbers aren't just up. They're on life support elsewhere and throwing a championship parade every time she plays. We're not talking a slight difference. We're talking Grand Canyon levels of viewership drop-off. Without Caitlyn, the WNBA isn't struggling, it's disappearing. And the league knows it. That's why they're hanging on to her like she's a human flotation device on the Titanic. The problem is, they're trying to exploit her value without protecting her value. You'd think if one person was single-handedly driving growth in every metric that matters, revenue, viewership, social media buzz, they'd be treated like royalty. Instead, she's being treated like an unwelcome guest crashing someone else's dinner party. How backwards is that? You've got a generational cash cow accidentally saving your entire league from irrelevance, and the locker room's response is basically, who invited her?
This CBA is an absolute disgrace.
Yeah.
I really do.
Yep. We've been talking about that.
Absolute disgrace. First of all, it's so esoteric. There's no way the average fan can process any of this or really understand it. But also, you think about the Celtics. They did it the right way.
Yes.
They built the team through the draft and shrewd trades. This is not some super team where a bunch of guys ganged up. And now they have to dismantle the team. Why? Because there's other teams that aren't as smart and there's other owners that are lazy and cheap. This is what the league is doing now? It makes no sense. It's not good for the Celtics. I also don't think it's good for the product.
If this league had even a thimble of business sense, they'd be building a statue, naming a conference after her, and maybe, just maybe, protecting her from getting clotheslined every third game. Instead, she's taking hits like a tackling dummy while the refs file their nails and pretend they didn't see it. So now we're staring at the 2026 season with one massive, sweaty-palmed question. Will it even happen? Because the way things are going, it's not just about declining ratings or awkward pressers anymore. It's about whether there will be anything left to salvage. If Clark gets injured or decides she's had enough of being everyone's favorite punching bag while league execs sit on their hands and let the chaos fester, what's next? You think ticket sales are going to skyrocket because of a promo code and a motivational quote on Instagram? Let's be real. The worst part? Everyone's tiptoeing around it like it's some big mystery, like there's a ratings spike fairy hiding behind the curtain. No, it's not magic. It's Caitlyn. She's interested. She's the investment. She's the ticket that finally made the WNBA relevant to people outside the niche bubble, and instead of being embraced, she's being hazed, fouled, and weirdly resented by people who don't seem to understand that she's literally keeping their paychecks coming in.
Here's the deal, guys. The WNBA is having a moment right now. We see record crowds, we see record ratings. The biggest stars in women's basketball that we've ever seen are taking the court night in and night out. But here's the thing, while the game is thriving on the court, well, off the court there is a battle that really could change everything. Right now, the league and its players are locked in tense negotiations over a new collective bargaining agreement, which is the deal that governs just about everything. Salaries, roster size, travel, licensing rights, you name it, it covers it.
So here's the deal. Nothing changes unless the players themselves force the issue. The commissioner isn't going to snap out of the PR coma on her own. The front office isn't going to magically find its spine while sipping oat milk lattes. They'll keep coasting until the wheels fall off. Because that's what they've always done. The only thing that's ever going to ignite a real shakeup is action. And not the cute hashtag kind, the kind that burns bridges and forces reform. What this league needs is a strike. Not a symbolic one. A full-blown, union-backed, season-halting, headlines-eating protest from the inside. It sounds dramatic, but so is what's happening now. The silence is deafening. The commissioner's press statements sound like they were written by ChatGPT after a 6-day nap. There is no urgency, no accountability, just vague promises about growing the game, while the most valuable player in the league is getting body slammed into retirement at 22. Imagine if the players united and said enough, not just in passing, but with real demands, better officiating, consistent protection for all players, yes, even the ones driving all your revenue, more professionalism, less politics, more basketball, fewer branding exercises disguised as public service announcements.
Our collective bargaining operation is a slap in the face and the polar opposite of player union requests. Wait a second. The polar opposite, that means if you ask for $1,000, they want you to pay for $1,000. See what I'm saying here? If they want to give you $5,000 in benefits, the polar opposite would mean they want you to pay $5,000 in benefits. I don't think they're using proper language here.
Just imagine that kind of stand. Not only would it force the league to finally take a long, hard look in the mirror, it would earn the respect of fans who are beyond done with the fake progress and hollow gestures. The players hold more power than they think. Without them, there is no league. Without their talent, without their time, without their labor, this house of cards collapses. As if losing Caitlin Clark would be a temporary blip, not a full-blown extinction-level event. At this point, the WNBA isn't headed for a rough patch. It's headed for a reckoning. A total meltdown is coming if the players don't step up and demand the change the league so clearly refuses to implement on its own. The system is broken and they know it, the fans know it, the media knows it. The only people pretending otherwise are the ones too invested in their own cluelessness to admit they've run this league into a wall. Caitlin Clark may have bought the WNBA time,
but players aren't seeing enough of it, or at least in their opinion, they're not seeing enough of it. So, how do we get here? Let's talk about the history of WNBA CBAs. Now, this fight did not start overnight. It's been building for decades. When the WNBA tipped off in 1997, players had no real bargaining power. There was no union, no guaranteed contracts. Even star players made under $50,000 in their first year.
but she didn't sign up to carry it on her back while being undercut, disrespected, and used as a cultural scapegoat every time she outshines someone. If she goes, the mirage disappears, and the league as we know it might not survive the fallout. That's why players need to stop waiting for permission and start writing their own rules. You want a league that respects you? Demand it. You want fairness? Fight for it. You want an actual future in professional women's basketball that doesn't rely on one person to keep the ship afloat? Then build it. Because the current leadership clearly won't. Without real action, the WNBA is one bad foul away from catastrophe. And when that moment comes, no statement, no tweet, no glossy ad campaign is going to fix it. Either the players take charge, or they'll be the last ones turning out the lights. If you enjoyed leaving a like and subscribing, more videos are on the screen now.